Hi there and welcome. It is Monday, the 4th of February, 2023. And my guest today is Joyce, also known as the Juggernaut. Hello, darling. How are you doing today?
Hi, Dani. Good to see you. How's it going?
So well. I'm so glad to get you on my channel, Joe. We met at the Galactic and Spiritual Informers Connection. And before we get into that and your reasons for being there, I'd like people to know that you are a serious contender in the boxing industry for World Heavyweight Champion of the Year. And we will get into that just so people know what they're dealing with here. This is the Juggernaut, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, yes, it is. So, Joe, can you tell us what is a giant and how tall are you, my love?
I'm 6'6", 198 centimeters. Yeah, just really close to being the heavyweight champion of the world. I've got the WO interim, and so that means that GISIC has the full title, and he's going to be fighting Tyson Fury, and then hopefully then in the summer I'll fight the winner. So I'm in touching distance of becoming heavyweight champion of the world.
This is so exciting.
But you know, it's great that we met at the Galactic and Spirit with the GSIC.
Yes.
And yeah, I'm just not only about boxing. I've a bit like there's a lot more layers, and I have a lot of esoteric interests.
Yeah, I love it. You know, the world that you entered, boxing, something I was very involved with in my earlier years in terms of manically watching. I actually attended the Frank Bruno, who is a legend, Frank Bruno, and the Joe Bugner fight. I was there in the audience. Do
you know, funny enough, Frank Bruno actually comes from my amateur boxing club, Elsfield, ABC. So yeah, I've and my first ever fight as an amateur, I met Frank Bruno there, and he says, "Yeah, there's a lot of money to be made in heavyweight boxing."
That's great. He's been such a loved character, such a British treasure, for so many years, and I love that. And there's nothing like the banter, us Brits, like we don't need a translator, like we know where it's at with the British. I think some people feel left out sometimes when Brits get on together, and same as the Aussies, I guess they've got a similar kind of banter too, don't they?
Yeah, I think even with we speak the same language, it's like, especially being here in America, you have to like learn to translate. Like I've been running around the casino like, where's the lift? And I'll be like, wait, where's the elevator? It's like, yeah, it's just over there. But
yeah,
until you it's like, well, what's cilantro? It's coriander. Like
zucchini,
like
courgette. It's crazy.
Tomato.
Potato. There's a definite language barrier, and the same as Canada too. I lived there, so I can verify there's also similar things. I remember ending a relationship with a guy and saying, let's just call it a day. I was very young. Let's just call it a day. He's like, okay, sure, I'll come pick you up on Tuesday or Wednesday. I'm like, no, mate, let's just call it a day. It could be very awkward, Joe. It really can. So getting back to you, a whisper away from world dominance, world heavyweight champion of the year in terms of boxing, a legend, etc.
Yeah.
I said the world.
Not the year.
I said the world, the year, the world.
Said the year.
Did I really? Good heavens, I apologize. I mean, I'm thinking in my head, you're going to be the biggest boxer in the universe and all the galaxies too.
I'm going with that too. Thanks.
Own it all.
Yes. So, I will own it.
Right now, watching some of your videos on YouTube, when you are about to get into the ring, you are a giant man, fully prepped, mentally prepped, and you give such a stare down to your opponent. Now, what is going through your mind, may I ask?
Well, what I do is I look deeply in the eyes of my opponent, and that is there where you kind of see what is in there, what you can see in them. Like if you can see, you can tell a lot by the eyes, and if they can hold your stare, if they can keep their eyes locked against yours and don't look away, then you know that you're in for a tough fight, because they're mentally strong too. So there's there's certain things you can see, and you can also yeah, I guess you're imposing your will and seeing if they, see if they're gonna, rise up to challenge it, or they're gonna shy away. And I don't know, you can tell a lot by looking someone deep in the eyes, or
Yeah, yeah.
staring down, seeing what they're made of.
Right, right. And again, it takes some kind of mental strength, obviously physical strength, discipline and training. And people look at athletes and other people around the world, and they don't always consider that maybe that person has a spiritual connection, which you clearly do. And there is so much more power in owning. I mean, there are some tough nuts out there who'll look at you and think, oh my God, he's talking about spirituality and experiences. What a Nancy. What a patsy, which is kind of a hardcore leftover thing from World War II, similar kind of army thinking. But they're wrong. They're so wrong, because you stand as the man you are with all these different talents and levels and layers. Can you share with us some of your first spiritual experiences or awakenings?
So I guess I chose my parents, or like put myself in I guess I incarnated into this physical vehicle, through my parents. And that luckily I had two quite, arty, and they're not like the typical parents. Like my dad's very arty, and he, into martial arts, and he's an artist. My mum is, more into pottery and like the healing arts. And I grew up she like on a vegan diet, like way back then, when there was like, this is like, she was like a pioneer back then, and did a lot of the healing arts like massage, reflexology, and shiatsu. And also had the 5-element acupuncture, who actually one of her friends, who's like, I think she's 80, like late 80s now, but she's actually gone back, she's actually learned how to do that 5-element acupuncture in China, but for a Chinese teacher. But then, the Chinese government got rid of all that kind of, the spiritual kind of stuff, and she's like then brought it back and reteaching them. So she's back in China reteaching them that 5-element acupuncture, which is wonderful. But so yes, I've always been around it. I started martial arts. I started karate when I was 5, and so I learned to swim very young. My dad was always taking me swimming, and also I started rugby at the age of 6. So I was always into sports, and also into art as well. At home, I'll be like, always drawing, and I don't know, my dad used to read me stories, and my mum used to make up stories. Now, she could never remember. She used to make up the best stories, and I'd be like, tell me that story again. But she's like, I can't remember. She just made it off a cuff. But yeah, so I had my parents were separate, like growing up, but I had like the best of both worlds. And which got me to travel, and also do all the different sporting activities. I did music, and I played the trumpet, and my mum sang as well, and took me to like music. She kind of like, we were this music group who kind of like sung. They each had an instrument, and she sang, and like they would all kind of jam and stuff. So I was always like around like things like different, like that's why I can relate to a lot of people, and I've had like a lot of experiences, like camping, and I don't know, different things. So my spectrum, and I've been to Nigeria as well, from a young age. So I'm quite worldly, like growing up. And I've also, like when I was little, I'd even like done like meditation, and I used to be my mom's case study for like massage and shiatsu and reflexology and stuff. So I was always getting treatments and stuff. So I was very balanced, and I had a good diet, and I was, into sports and stuff. So I was, I was like very calm, and I was quite a shy character growing up, but maybe because I was like, balanced and like quite spiritual. It's like not great when you're in school, when you got like people who are like, they're eating junk food, and they're like, I don't know, they have problems at home. And then obviously then you get like I got bullied a bit and picked on and stuff growing up, because I'm so like relaxed and, like a kind, loving person. So it's quite a shock for a lot of children when they go to school, and then they're like in these regimes where there's, you know, probably like out of date regimes that are, you know, conditioning the kids and that. And I thought that was great for, you know, in the GISIC that was it Sherry Divban?
Yeah.
She was talking about that new, I'm not going to say, well, you know what the other way of saying school is, but that was an eye opener. And you know, well, that's kind of where we're kind of headed. I thought that was it kind of like covered a whole spectrum of the, you know, with the different speakers and subjects, and also corroborating. Is that the word?
Yeah, you know, corroborated.
Corroborating, link all together.
Yeah, thanks for recognizing that. Yeah, the way that I created it was to basically every single person was a piece of a beautiful embroidery, a tapestry of the world, a puzzle, you know, all coming together. And it just works so beautifully. But how did you find out about GISIC?
Well, actually, I watched your show. I watched a lot of the speakers. Well, I watched all of the speakers who was on that panel before I've started my, I guess, waking up in 2007. This is like when I was in university. I was actually got talking to one of my friends and well, a couple of my friends in uni, and we were talking about the hip hop industry and, like, you know, how, you know, artists, like, say they sold their souls or they've done the deal or like things like that, and then you hear about, like, you know, the groups that, and then like what the group's name is, and you do a Google search. If you ask the right questions, you get the right answers. So I, like, throughout uni, and especially since I did fine art at uni, I got a chance to I don't know, you kind of like are more creative, and you're thinking about your world view and what you want to kind of you know, you portray in your work. So that kind of I went down the rabbit hole for since then, basically, and it was a lot more readily available, less censorship back then. So it was a lot easier to go onto sites and see videos and stuff. But I think I've gone off on a tangent, and I don't know.
No, it's great.
Yeah,
it's great. It's beautiful that you are, like I say, this kind of on the edge of achieving world champion boxer of the heavyweight boxer in the world. I almost said in the year again. You're right. I did say, sorry. Sorry about that. But you know, and yet you have this depth, this deep side of you, which is great because so many other people do too. And I'm trying to, like, dilute that illusion that we all think we know things about people. We look at someone and put them in a box. We got to stop doing that. It's so dangerous. There is a witch hunt happening globally right now. We need people to wake up and stop bloody judging in the way they are. You know, look at someone like you and not assume that we know you because of this, or that you fought somebody that might have something on them that is a bit nefarious, and then link it to you just because you were standing next to them. Those kinds of things we have to end. We have to end. So it's beautiful to have you on and to listen to all the ins and outs. And you're a fascinating person. You are so well loved. You have a massive following, you know, and you are a wonderful example of a man, a giant man, Juggernaut, for goodness sake, what a name to get, right? That is showing the beautiful balance of the masculine and the feminine. And to my mind, Joe, and also as a therapist, this is what I see as the perfect balance in the masculine divine energy, you know, in this time that we're in, this time of ascension. So it's great that you found us all and that you've been doing your own kind of journey in dance since 2007. That's longer than most people. A lot of people have just like 2020 was the time, but that's all right. There should really be no judgment on that, because it doesn't mean that they're any less evolved or mature. Maybe they had to wait till that time because there was too much pain in the vehicle that they were carrying that they weren't aware of. There are many reasons why we wake up when we wake up. Can you give me and the audience that will see this your kind of impressions of the Galactic and Spiritual Informers connection, which we're calling GISIC for short? When you came, when you entered, what was the feeling? What was your experience over those 3 days?
Yeah, so when I arrived at the hotel and, like, check it, I was a bit, well, I was just, as soon as I walked in there, yeah, it's like recognizing people that I've been watching videos on, and, like, and everyone I noticed quite quickly, like, by the fight, like, everyone kind of speaks the same language, because it's like, you know, in our normal lives, you have to speak a different language, you have to speak normal. But when we come to gatherings like this, you can actually speak freely, and bring up a lot. You know, you have a lot to talk. You have a lot to say. You have a lot to talk to, and there's a lot of connections as well. You see people you've you know, have connections from past lives, and everyone has their story. Everyone has their own stories, their own experiences, and a lot of them could be speakers too on shows like this. So. And also the energy, because you're, you know, sharing energy with people, you're in each other's auric fields, and especially at this the conference with keep on saying, with a shaman who we what was the word?
Quetzalcoatl.
Yeah. And you know, woken sleeping the giant, etc. And yeah, I thought it was, because I just felt like I needed to be here. I needed to go there because, I knew, I knew I needed to be there. I think I had a mission why I had to be there. And especially when I saw where you hyped me up about the tickets and stuff, I went on there and I was like, oh, I've got the time, I've got the money, and it's 555. I'm gonna go. I think it's a sign I'm gonna get. So I just booked it all then. And as I felt like I needed to be there, and especially because it was the first one, and you know, it's the first time Elena speaks, and also the last time Alex Collier speaks, so it's like something, you know, not to be missed. And so I obviously got myself to there.
Lovely.
And so. Anyway, carry on. Have you got any questions?
Just again, your impressions. So it's great because there was that great social area, but there was a huge fire pit outside, and people really gathered there, and they connected, and even people who like came on their own, you know, everybody kind of synced with someone or a group or whatever. And people are still emailing me now to say, oh my God, that was life-changing. It changed my life in so many ways. And that's been the biggest message, Joe, from everyone that came, everyone that went. So we are having a second GISIC. It will be at the same hotel in Orlando, Florida, over the same weekend, but the 20th, the 21st, and the 22nd this year. And it's going to be...
hopefully the travel stuff will be sorted out, so we can have more people from
around the world.
Over. From around the world.
I mean, America needs to like sit down and think about her manners, because she's just spoiling fun for everybody around the world when there's no harm to come to people. You know, same with Canada and the president there who's kept his people imprisoned. I lived in Costa Rica. I saw that bloke walking down the road when he's got the whole of Canada shut down and in prison. He's walking down the road in my street in Costa Rica like last year.
It's just like all the they had the party over Christmas with the MPs from UK. They're all partying while we're supposed to be
and these are the Muppets we're supposed to listen to on our planet. But what they do by their nefarious actions is show us what utter failures they are, and then we just keep moving along. And they're in the rearview mirror. And then the people of the planet come together and say, hey, love you. Let's all work together. Let's decide what's best for us all, for our babies, for our teens, for our adults, younger, older, for our elders. We, the people, get to make our decisions in these beautiful concentric circles of councils, and really, really rising to the top, the best of what this species is, because as a species, we are so magnificent. We are so powerful. And it's things like you, a good example of physical prowess, mental strength. Go ahead. What were you going to say?
And I was saying, handle things like globally, but like obviously on the positive side, as come together as a planet, opposed to how we are so divided into countries and sports teams and age, sex, that just all to come together as a planet, and then to improve it, and then obviously travel, which will be very exciting. But
Yeah,
that's apparently that's coming in the next 20 years. So that we look forward to that.
yeah. Well, and the thing is,
But we're not there yet, obviously.
right, but it's with inside of 20. If you look at 20 as the final year, inside of this 20-year opening and expansion of mind, body, and soul on planet, where humans are finally taking their power back, finally taking their own authority into self, then of course we're going to make massive, rapid change. Of course we are, without question.
So we're moving in. So we're moving into that. There's a lot of people with a lot of inventions that have mate for so many years, and they like a lot of them have been like silenced and stuff. But it's all there, and like a certain things are in place. Should something happen to them, that they'll be released out anyway. So that's when they say nothing can really stop what's coming. So
Yeah,
it's very.
Nothing stops what's already happening. We are already in full-on disclosure. First contact between many millions has already happened, myself included. First contact with upstairs brothers and sisters. And the technology you're referring to, the healing, either medical beds, the lasers, crystal light, magnetic technology,
free energy,
it's all here. And at our next GISIC, Galactic Spiritual Informers Connection, we're going to have an array of this beautiful technology. We're going to have it set up so people who've always wanted to know, what does it look like? What does it feel like? How can this help my physical, mental, emotional body? They're going to know, because we're going to have everything that we can on show available for vendors to share and attendees to have a look at. I'm so excited about that, Joe. Now, you mentioned reflexology, which is obviously an ancient art. All the nerve endings end in the feet. You press anywhere in the body.
Yeah. And then it goes around the body and like to other organs so that's through the feet. And then shiatsu is actually, there are points all over the body, so which link to other meridians. And it's interesting, the film Avatar, like all the avatars, if you look on their skins, they have got the meridians already. Like the stars in the background, they have them on their face, like the different meridians or over their bodies. It was quite interesting.
Yeah. There was a lot. Did you see the second one? Did you see both of
them? Yeah. I just watched it. Well, recently.
Yeah, there was so much in both films. I mean, the second one I felt had way too much warring in it, but that's just me. And I love the element. I felt the water element was also a Lemurian element too, because, in terms of the ancient civilizations on our planet and how the planet has risen and fallen before, and we're in another time of rising, that we had time of Lemuria before the time of Atlantis. And so when I was watching Avatar 2, I was very much put in mind of the gentle water nature and bringing the land and the water, together in symphony in this time of ascension. Yeah. Did you have a favorite? I
wonder about the time before the moon as well, when it was it swampland here? Because like it's interesting how the moon is tidally locked to the planet, isn't it? You only see one side.
Yeah.
And that keeps the water flowing, and the seas and the tides and stuff. Yeah, I don't know, I'm going off on a tangent, but
no, but it's good though, because
but like with the water and that's kind of what I was thinking of at the time.
Yeah. And we're learning much more about the moon and as many things that we've been told and taught on this planet since birth. And I'm talking 100 years to this present moment, has been completely false, has led us astray. Or the governments are so sectioned into the children on this planet, in this country will learn this. The children in this country will learn this. A lot of those children now, like you and I, are adults, but even the kids today, there's such a breakthrough in certain areas with homeschooling, with charter schools, with online schools, but there's still an underbelly, an undercurrent that is being dismantled because our children are being taught utter bullshit.
Have you heard of Steiner schools?
Yes.
Yeah. So, originally, my mom was wanting me to go to a Steiner school, but like my dad wasn't keen. But my brothers have been there. So that school that kind of school system is good, but I think it's outdated. Like they don't really move with the time. I think they could move with the times, like more with technology a little bit more.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm involved with a company.
I like that with the flow of the 7-year cycles and stuff. And Rudolf Steiner, he's interesting stuff. His books with the root races and stuff.
Yeah, yeah, so beautiful. I'm involved with a company right now, which is off-planet technology, the highest level of education, a technology that military officers would plug into to learn, to get downloads and learn. And that technology is on our planet, and it's a technology that will be developed and brought into schools to help our children learn. And if a child is
a bit like the Matrix. I know kung fu. It's
yeah,
like
but
I
without,
know algebra.
but without that kind of you know, that
Anyway, who
dominant.
needs to know algebra, by the way? Like, anyway.
Exactly. It was like one of the best things I was good at in school, dyslexic. So I could do it on the board if it was on the board at a really high level. But the second I took my eyes off the board to the page, it got mind swiped. That's sometimes how a dyslexic brain works. There's a miswiring that's wired into something else far more genius. But anyway, I've never once used bloody algebra in my life, and few people will ever. Exactly, wasted time. And how many times did you learn to do math a different way? Oh, let's bring in the latest strain of mathematics and how we have to learn it. Why do they keep changing it around the world?
And then his story that we learned as well. We only get like a certain syllabus of stuff we can know. And I think I've heard something that the education system is like from, you know, like the Industrial Revolution, like that kind of like same thing, like to make you like smart enough to be factory workers, to follow instructions, blah blah blah.
Yeah, and now the reversal's happening. They're going back. So they're trying to take learning, joined up writing, as you and I would have called it, joined up writing. They call it cursive in other parts of the world, maybe also in England now. I don't know. I'm not in the school system in England.
Oh yeah, I was so happy when I got my proper fountain pen after doing that handwriting stuff. Do you remember the red pen?
Yeah.
Anyway, I digress, but
yeah, but that's great though, because that's also a connection to the brain. It's a physical attribute working with mental synopsis and neural pathways in the brain, right? And
but they've taken that out, are you saying?
Trying to, that the authorities that are not, the deletes, the nobodies at the top who are being removed, are trying to stop children learning joined up writing or cursive, because they want to dumb them down to the point where they're so stupid and uneducated, they just need to put an X where their name would normally be. But again, failures, it's not happening, and it's all out in the open. We can see everything that's going on and everything that's kind of trying to be forced upon us right now, but there's no way that it's going to continue. Joe, do you see yourself sometime in the future when the day may come when you hang up your boxing gloves at the end of world domination and world championships on many, many levels? Do you see yourself as a mentor to younger children?
Yeah, definitely. I have a lot of time for you know, guiding the young. Like I feel that I've got a lot to share, and I've you know, I've helped bring up 4 younger brothers, and you know, I used to be a swimming teacher when I was before my boxing career. I was so yeah, I've taught, you know, all ages, elderly and young children, all the swimming, you know, like scared children that's afraid to put their head underwater, to swimming 4 strokes. So I find it very rewarding teaching, and I guess sometime I will have you know, I've got a lot to teach.
Yeah.
Boxing, swimming, diving, art, you name it. And whatever else that needs to be taught when we're ready to do that.
Yeah.
When you know what I mean?
Yeah. And
when certain subjects then needed to be taught.
Yes, yes. So can you share with us, from a little boy having all this beautiful exposure that you did on many levels, what was it that made you choose boxing? And tell us about the mental discipline that you've needed to this moment to really calibrate within yourself.
So when did I start boxing?
Yeah, and when did you realize this was your thing, this was your gift?
Okay, yeah, so when I started boxing, I was at university doing fine art at Middlesex, and I did an exchange, funny enough, to Sacramento State University. Well, I did cheerleading, and but basically I was a jack of all trades growing up. I did swimming, martial arts, rugby, and I tried all different sports. But it wasn't till I was at uni, and I was over the summer, and I was looking for this boxing gym. I knew there was one around the area. I just wanted to, because I was doing athletics and I just wasn't really enjoying what I was doing. And so I joined this boxing gym, Elsfield, and I started as a keep fitter and just hitting the bags and keeping fit and that. But it's really fun just hitting the bags, and you've got your footwork, and like you're starting to learn a bit about the techniques and that, and sparring. And now sparring's really fun and exciting because you're trying to hit the opponent. And I used to like doing that because when I did kickboxing, kung fu, they had sparring there, but it was like like light touch sparring. So but it was hands and feet, but then you do just hands or just feet. And when I did just hands, I really enjoyed it, and I like that kind of thing. So I wanted to do that again. So that's when I started at Elsfield, and I did have a mentor who was from Cuba called Juan, who was actually training me to be athletics, and he was like a mentor and really gave me the confidence that I had the potential to do something in sport. And like he could get me there. So before that, I was thinking more of like getting a trade, like electrician, plumber, that kind of thing. But he gave me the confidence that I could actually do something in sport. And so our original plan was to get to the Olympics doing athletics, but I wasn't good enough and I couldn't get there. And so all the doors were closed for that. But when I started boxing, that's where the doors started opening, and I could, I saw my path to the top. And it's all about setting goals. Like my first goal was to win the national championship. So I went and I did that, and then, it's easy. It's very simple boxing because you're only using your hands. And but it's very complicated, and it has a lot of tactics and skill and mentality and psychology and spirituality maybe as well. So and whatever you're doing, like training wise, say if you're going for a run or a swim or a cycle, you're all adding bricks to your what you're building. So you obviously have to start with a good solid foundation. And then, so that when you start laying the bricks, that you won't get a leaning tower pizza, that it's, you've got good foundations. And like, and whatever you're doing is putting bricks onto your building. Or you can think about it like making a cake. You have like different ingredients. So over the years, like through my sporting and I guess my sporting / martial arts career, then I've picked up ingredients from great teachers over the years, and then that I've brought all that with me, all that experience into the ring.
Yeah, incredible. You said that you first of all had your eye on being an Olympian. What was the sport that you wanted to be an Olympian at? Was it swimming?
It could have been swimming. It could have been diving. I was, I was very good at. I'm a very good athlete all round, and yeah. But originally it was long jump and triple jump that I was going to do, but I ended up just trying everything and doing like hurdles and shot put and high jump. I used to like high jump in school, but yeah, boxing it really started to open up like the path. I was on the right path. And all I had to do was keep winning my fights. And then I won the nationals and then got onto the national team, the Great Britain team, boxing team. And then went all around the world, doing different training camps and also competing in tournaments. And I did all of them. And I'm the most decorated amateur boxer, a male boxer, because Nicola Adams has got an extra gold medal. Yeah, so I completed all I need to do with amateur, and then I moved on to the professional. Now I'm 15-0 with 14 knockouts, and my next I've got a fight in April 15th in the UK
Yeah.
in the copper box, but it'll be available on ESPN. Quick plug.
I mean, this
But
is great, right? ESPN. This is the big leagues. It doesn't get any bigger than this.
and BT Sport in the UK.
BT Sport in the UK. Amazing. So how are you getting ready for that? It's only a few weeks away. How are you preparing?
So I'm back out here in Vegas. I'm in an Airbnb. I've got a lovely pool table there, and there's a pool and a jacuzzi, which is not bad. These are the perks of being at this stage of my career. I can, I can afford to take myself away here, away from all the distractions, and I have like the best coach for me, Ishmael Salas, who brings out the best of me, and Coach Larry Wade as well, who does the S&C. So I've got I come out here and I go to the Salas Boxing Academy and also use the UFC facility for my strength training. And there's also the really nice runs like Red Rock Canyon, and there's like Low Mountain Path and stuff. Yeah. And also the hot weather, and when you're happy and you're tapped in, turned on in the vortex, then you tend to do better, and you get positive results. Even though Vegas is apparently on this negative vortex, it doesn't seem to affect me, and I seem to do well here. But I think there's a lot of energy, more energy in America anyway.
Yeah, it's amazing. Do you remember Barry McGuigan? Remember those days, the little Irish?
Yeah. I know Barry McGuigan. I almost actually signed with him to be when I won the nationals, the ABA national championships. I went and trained in his gym that was before the Commonwealth. So I went to train in his gym, but then I decided to come back and I won a gold at the Commonwealth Games instead of turning pro with Barry McGuigan. So, but I hadn't been in the sport long enough, because when you're doing something, if you're doing anything in life, really, if you're doing it for 10 years, 10,000 hours, you reach excellence in that. So you tend to master what you're doing. So that's what I needed, to have that time in the sport. And then I did 10 years, and obviously I'm now very experienced and ready to take on the world.
Indeed. That's beautiful. That's so great. And like you say, mastery, hours and hours and hours of mastery and dedication. While you're there, what is the timeline and kind of hours per day? I know you've just come back from a training session. So what goes into that?
So this session today, this is actually a pre-camp. I actually start camp officially on the 15th. And but yeah, I tend to do 6 days a week, Monday to Saturday. Monday I do a gym session in the morning, and then in the evening at 6:30 I do my boxing sessions. And in camp I'll do sparring 3 times a week, so Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And then I do more the long runs on the Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. But it's 2 sessions a day, 5 times a week, and then 1 training session on Saturday. So it's quite. I think it's quite. When camp gets in, it's tiring, and you have to have enough time to rest in between sessions, and you want to get the right food in, recovery, make sure you're eating a balanced diet, and you're not eating too late, but also make sure you're getting all the right vitamins, and actually, that's important. You want to be drinking the right water. You don't want to be drinking water straight from the tap, for instance, and you want to be checking your food doesn't contain them, the certain ingredients which are labeled the certain things, and your toothpaste, you don't want to be using toothpaste, etc. So I'm conscious about all these things, and I use that in making my body and mind clear of any of this crap that's in there, and to make sure I get the best. I'm in the best shape possible. I'm ticking all the boxes to get get the best out of you know, what I'm doing, and also clearing any not putting any dodgy stuff in my system.
Excellent. All part of the discipline, right? All part of loving the vessel that you're in. A lot of people right now globally are extremely stressed, overstressed. They are nurturing themselves with alcohol, cigarettes, drugs, for example. I just heard today about another little boy I know, not little, so much little, like he's 21, 22, been smoking the weed, and has just had psychosis, is now in hospital. I know several young people. When I had my clinic open, my therapy clinic, I dealt with a lot of young people who have been told, well, marijuana is really good for you. It's a natural. Yeah, it's a natural plant. It's still not for everyone. Your brain's still not fully developed in your early 20s. What would you advise people right now of all ages who are going through stress? Could you advise them a mental mind technique to allow them to maybe rise above temptations like that and put their health first?
I would say that like even like doing a meditation before you go to, like, listen to like music before you go to sleep, to like clear your mind of any like clatter. And like if you're like looking at your phone, looking at whatever you're like looking at before you go into bed, that is that's obviously going to affect your sleep and stuff. So it's be good to like clear it of anything. And also like diet, and even doing a bit of exercises, going for a walk and getting out in the air in the sunshine is definitely going to help. Or like putting some music or something that you enjoy, like a film or a series that like cheers you up. It's like watching a funny thing or listening to a funny podcast, or you know, something that's going to pick up your mood, especially if you're going in a negative spiral and things are not going well. You have to be conscious and realize that when you're going down that, and being able to pivot and like going back in the positive spiral, like, you know, just by listening to music, or I don't know, having a bit of chocolate, or, you know, something that's gonna like pick up your energy and then start going back in a positive way, or even go for a quick jog. That them endorphins will kick in, and you'll feel a lot better.
Yeah, beautiful. Great tips. Just so you know, you may not have realized, but I don't know, do you love crunchies?
Yeah, I don't mind countries. Yeah, they're good.
I love a crunchy. And ladies and jelly beans out there, crunchy is a certain candy bar that we have in England. It's got chocolate around the outside and honeycomb in the middle. In America, Juggernaut, just so you know, they are called violet crumbles. Don't ask me why, but that's what they're called. Because I found one the other day and I'm like, oh, what's that? It kind of feels like a crunchy. I bet it's not, but it was. So a crunchy bar in America is a violet crumble. Yeah, definitely. And a Snickers, that used to be called a marathon, and they mess around with stuff in America.
There used to be, I remember back in, like, because that was like a treat for me, because especially when at home with my mum and we were on this vegan thing, there's like rice cakes and soy milk, and like, and the soy milk was bad back then, thick and horrible. No biscuits or anything nice. So with my pocket money, I'd get a king size Twix, Twix, Snickers, and Mars. And I think I ate them in that order. But like the king size Snickers used to be massive, like, and like each year they'd be like,
Yeah.
Now it's like, and then also rise the price like each year.
Totally. And you remember like cereal, like breakfast cereal, you remember you get a big old box of cornflakes or whatever, always in a big old box. So over the years, they've gone narrower and narrower and narrower. And again, it's just all right in front of us. We're supposed to see it, but we don't, you know, and that's what's been happening, the reduction and disintegration. Then all the other ingredients that we never asked to be put into our bodies, you know, like crushed insects, it's actually a thing. It's actually a thing.
And especially if you don't know what you're looking at, you look at the back, but it's about like, because sometimes they disguise some of the ingredients as like broad terms in brackets or something like that, or so you have to like really know what you, because like it's in everything, like, and especially I've noticed more the ingredients in the food in the United States is a lot you know, they have put a lot more additives and things than the UK version.
Yes, and sugar.
Sugar, yeah.
And then portion size. I remember going to SeaWorld for the first time years ago, and then going in, and in Britain, like a little, you know, a Rice Krispie bar is a little square. We'd have a little square. It's a Rice Krispie cake, right? Remember Rice Krispies? A Rice Krispie.
Yeah.
Little, well,
Squares, yeah.
right. At SeaWorld, it was 4 times the size. And that was my first awareness of, wow. I mean, they say they do everything big in America. They certainly do, you know, like a little.
This is something I have to watch out for, because back home in the UK, I end up ordering like more than 1 meal, or like I order a bit too much, basically, because the portion size in the UK is a lot less. But I think the quality of food is better. But then in the US, I think you get your portion size. Like I tend to order too much, and I forget when I'm in the US because I order too much. Like, I'm like, oh no, I was ordered the side thing and it's like that. So, but like at least you can take it to go, which is good.
Yeah, take it to go. It's funny, again, when you say takeaway, we say, can we have a takeaway? Chinese takeaway, you know, kebab takeaway, and in America it's to go. Something to go. So again, little things to learn, different culture.
Like Apple Pay, and we say contactless in UK. You take contactless here, they're like, what? I was like, oh, Apple Pay, you got Apple? Yes, we've got Apple Pay. I'm like, yeah, that's what I was trying to say the first time. But,
yeah, a lot of differences definitely are. Well, listen, this has been great. I want to go through the notes here. Just briefly, I was looking at some of the boxers that you defeated on the way up here. Boxers like Bryant Jennings, Daniel Dubois. I mean, you've really, like, you know, earned your gloves, you know, the size of your
and
glove.
Joseph Parker as well, the more recent one. That was a great lookout. Yeah, so I've I turned pro quite late at the age of 31. So it means that I'd had a great amateur career, like won everything in the amateurs. And so as a pro, and also did WSB, which was like a World Series of Boxing, which was like a kind of, I'll call it semi-pro, where you fight like pro style with no head guard. Because when I started, it was with head guards and you had to wear a vest, but with the World Series of Boxing, they took the head guards off and you don't wear anything on your top half, you just wear shorts. So it's like pro style. You have the entrance music, you're only fighting one opponent. Because normally in amateurs, you're fighting like in a tournament like 3, 4, 5 times and you don't know who you're fighting. So it was good to have that experience there to bring into the pros.
Wow.
But I can't remember what the point was why I was saying all that. So
well, because I was giving a rundown again, a backstory on those that will know you, some of the boxers that you've already defeated on the way up here now on the cusp of World Heavyweight Champion of the Year. And again, going into the spiritual, the background, the life, and your kind of thinking, and then advice that you give and have given in this broadcast here to people to try and get out of distress, because mindset is everything right now. Health, mental wealth, mental health, mindset, you know. So again, it's such a joy to have you on. You're such a delight to know.
And I would say try it. Go to the gym, go and get some mitts and hit the bag for 10 minutes. You'll definitely get out your stress and you'll feel a lot better.
Yeah, it's good to imagine.
Or jump in the pool, do a couple of lengths, swim about, get some goggles, go underwater, bloop, 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 bloop. Blow bubbles with your nose.
Right, exactly. Get used to your face being in the water. Coming from a swimming teacher, I love it. Well, Joe, again, thank you for your input too on the Galactic and Spiritual Informers connection. I'm so happy that you came. I'm so glad that I met you. You were much received with great love by many people there. Pretty hard to miss. I think you were probably one of the single tallest, if not the tallest person there, pretty much. And your energy was much appreciated. Any final words to the audience that will see this in any regard, whether it's your sport, boxing, or your spiritual self?
Well, just follow me on all my social channels. It's Joe Joyce Boxing, at Joe Joyce Boxing on all platforms. And follow my journey, watch my fights, my previous fights, and stay tuned and watch out for my art. I've got my art as well, and I should be at other events, and I will definitely be back at the GISIC, the next GISIC, if I can make it. I look forward to that.
Wonderful. Well, we look forward to having you, Joe. That'd be beautiful. And everything, guys out there, everything that Joe has discussed right now, all of his links, his artwork, his boxing talent, his clips, will be underneath his broadcast. So all you got to do is just go underneath the broadcast. There you are. There's Joe, all his contacts and everything. And then we will support you and send you love, Joe, to your April bout, and obviously hold the light for you to be taking that heavyweight championship belt of the world. Joe Joyce, thank you. Much love to you, sir.
Pleasure.
And to you guys out there, my name is Dani Henderson. Thanks for joining us today on Monday, the 4th of February, 2023. Sending you love, and we'll see you soon.